All right. If this is true, and it looks like it is, there's going to be a lot of sad fans, divisiveness in the DC crowd, right? And I'm sure we're going to have a major outpouring of like the Snyder cult. Hey everyone, welcome to The Popular Perspective. Today, I'll be honest, I don't know what's going on. This is getting a little crazy. I have an idea of what's happening right now. Warner Brothers is being sold. That's no secret to anybody. And Paramount was denied 3 times. And it seems like Netflix is in the talks, along with Saudi Arabia and a few others, to buy out the company. And if Netflix does this, we know that Netflix is partnered with Zack Snyder, and Zack and Netflix been very vocal since just like the moment Warner Brothers announced they were selling. And James Gunn ended up coming out a little further after that, saying he was not sure of his future over at the DC Universe, and things just started getting crazy. He mentioned that after Zack had already posted Henry Cavill was Superman. Not to mention, James Gunn was saying certain things weren't going to carry over into his universe because of how well they were done in Zack's universe. Darkseid specifically, we would have just thought it was like maybe Netflix and Zack posting out photos over here, but we have members of the cast of Justice League liking the photos, sharing the photos with the hashtag sell Warner Brothers to Netflix. There's been a lot of talk about what that would look like if Netflix had bought out Warner Brothers, or how that would be bad for cinema as far as movie theaters are concerned. I get all these concerns, which I'm sure we could worry about later on. Like, I do think it's a little weird that people feel like Netflix would purchase Warner Brothers and then not throw Justice League 2 or 3 into theaters, knowing Justice League 1 is meant to be this theatrical release, just like its 2017 counterpart. I'm sure Netflix has all that worked out. I'm not worried about that at all. They're gonna have a lot of big franchises on their hands that they're able to exploit as far as movie theaters are concerned. I have no worries about that. But let's just talk about this for a second. James Gunn's Superman movie was actually good. I enjoyed it. And I feel a little bit bad that some fans are not gonna really be able to see that universe fleshed out the way it was, unless Paramount does actually buy out Warner Brothers, because they're saying they're gonna leave a few things intact, such as James Gunn running the DC Universe. If they don't, and it goes to Netflix, which I'm sure it will, it would be nice to have James Gunn's universe as an Elseworld storyline, very similar to Matt Reeves' Batman. I don't know why that would be such a problem, especially when I heard that James Gunn was doing Superman and we found out Henry Cavill was not casted as Superman after the Black Adam movie. I didn't understand why they couldn't just do 2 universes simultaneously, but obviously they weren't making the best financial decisions at the time. I mean, the way that they were moving around with the DC Universe back then the firing of Zack Snyder. I honestly don't know what they thought they were. I don't know what, but if that never had happened, we wouldn't be here right now. Having a studio give Zack that franchise to fulfill it to his desire, so he can have complete creative control over it, because it seems like when he had creative control over the franchise, it was freaking amazing. Not one movie, from Man of Steel to Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition, obviously, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's probably one of the greatest comic book trilogies I think that had ever touched screen. That being said, David and Rachel, along with the rest of the cast, did amazing on Superman. I think James Gunn was great to put a all-star Superman kind of saga into work. I never thought he would have it in him. I'm pretty sure he surprised a lot of people, but I do want to see more of it in its own universe. If I have to settle with one, if I can't have the best of both worlds, then yes, I would like to hang on to Zack Snyder's universe. I was 14 at the time that Man of Steel came out. Since then till now, the vibe of the film, the theme of it does not change. It does feel like it was made for a more mature audience. It's taking these superheroes from the comics and realizing them into a real world, giving them problems that only those heroes would face, such as Batman crossing his no-killing rule, discovering new grounds while keeping the characters who they were from the comics, showing it under a realistic eye. I've never really seen that in comic book movies before. Watchmen was meant to be, more grounded and realistic. It was also meant to be gritty. But then I look at something like Man of Steel, and of course it can have its gritty parts, such as General Zod and the way that those Kryptonians are moving. But when Superman's on screen, it is not a gritty movie. It is a deep film. It is a grounded, realistic film. But grounded and gritty are two completely different meanings. If you're any real Superman fan, you can tell where James strays from the comics and where Man of Steel even strays from the comics, and then you can choose between yourself as to which one's more comic book accurate to Superman's character and his story and his motives. And yes, if we're doing that, then Man of Steel is more of the Superman film than Superman itself. But I am not knocking James Gunn's Superman. I love this Smallville vibe on the big screen, realized with the costumes and exaggerated nature of what comic books invite, such as these kaijus coming out of nowhere. I mean, this is like James Gunn's third kaiju. We had Starro, we had Mothra in Peacemaker, I think it was called Mothra. And now we have the Distraction. I don't know what's going on here, but maybe that's what he meant by gods and monsters. I don't know. It doesn't completely bother me. I'd appreciate if, the next Superman, we didn't have a kaiju in it, but I'm not entirely against it. But for us to trade up the Snyderverse for that universe is a little crazy. I just think that's a crazy concept. Now, you're gonna have your diehard fans. You're gonna have your diehard fans on James Gunn's side, like those monkey bots, just trashing Man of Steel. And vice versa, you're gonna have your Snyder fans, just trashing James Gunn fans. I don't know where it got that serious. I am appreciative to see that Superman's he's obviously like the talk of the town right now. It wasn't like that for a few years. Very appreciative to see it like this, but when you notice that there are people, right, that can't appreciate James Gunn's Superman, or people that can't appreciate Man of Steel's Superman, and chances are they really didn't read the comic books, because to be so dead set against one and absolutely love the other, then you're more a fan of the director than you are the character. And that's fine, but to say that it's not Superman, come on, that's a cheap argument, and that's legitimately because you don't read the comic books. You're gonna be online trashing the movie too. I don't really consider those people like Superman fans, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself over here. That being said, and I don't really mean this, it sounds fun to say, but the gun jammed, right? So Zack's back. We came back to restore the Snyderverse, sell Warner Brothers to Netflix, and end the nightmare. But how do you guys feel about this? Do you guys feel like James' universe kind of got cut short and we didn't get a chance to see it stand on its own legs? Because I know what that feels like. That happened to me too, with Zack. But if that is the case, I do feel for you guys because, like I said, I do like this. From Creature Commandos to Superman into Peacemaker Season 2, I did think he had something that he was building up, and I was actually interested to see what it was. It seemed very comic book based, and I was appreciative of that. When we have somebody like Zack Snyder or James Gunn who are fans of the comic books, it shows how much they appreciate the IPs that they're working under, and you can't ask for anything better than that. Somebody who actually cares about the material that they're working on, right? And they're familiar with it. So if that is the case, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to talk about that. If you're actually happy that Zack's back, hit me in the comments as well. We could talk about that. You guys know your boy's excited. And if you really did enjoy the video, then hit the like button while you're already down there. It just makes sense to do it because you're already down there. It's convenient. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel if you want to swing around and talk about this again. But until then, stay healthy, happy, and humble, and I'll be seeing you soon. God bless. Now talk about Superman.
Superman is not my favorite.